it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Don't say it's a fine morning or I'll shoot you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're tonight's entertainment.
Howdy. I'm Uncle Fester from next door.
Hey, how you doing?
And now for something completely different.
The BBC would like to announce that the next scene is not considered suitable for family viewing. It contains scenes of violence involving people's heads and arms getting chopped off. There are also scenes of naked women with floppy breasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
We interrupt this program to annoy you and make things generally irritating.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Your soul is mine. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's a little quiet in here. I don't know if people could find me, but that's cool. Just wanted, there's, as the sign says, there's no games today. I'm going to do something a little different that I've never seen anybody else do. A travel log, essentially. And it's in the same vein as Rick Steves might do. Rick Steves, famous travelogue producer on PBS. He usually does Europe. I'll stick to Oregon, Washington, Idaho, California, and Nevada area, and motorcycle related. So, no games today. I'll be back tomorrow, most likely playing Elite Dangerous, and we'll have fun with that tomorrow. But today it's all about motorcycles and the trip that I took this last weekend, starting on Thursday. A little bit of background. My first Harley was this one, and this picture is really crappy because it's from 2009 and I had a crappy phone. But that's a Sportster that I owned when I was out on the road. It's blue, even though it looks black. It was the Sportster XL 1200cc motorcycle. And I had it for a year. It was the first Harley I ever owned. And I got a deal at Lattice Motors where I bought it. If you upgraded, if after you bought it you upgraded within a year, they would give you all your money back. So it was as if you got to ride it for a year for free. So that's what I did. And here's another pic of it. I don't know if this is any better. But yeah, I was out on the road and I took a couple of pics. And this was a very uncomfortable bike. The seat wasn't bad, but it was a smaller bike, and I would get cramped up. I could ride about 30 miles, and then I'd have to get off and stretch my legs out and my back, and so about 10 months into owning that, I went to where I bought at Lattice Motors and got this. This is a 2009 Softail Custom. You'll notice the paint job on it. Let me get a bit of that. The paint job on it is right there. It says 151 of 200 by Harley Davidson. It's the factory custom paint job. And this bike was originally turquoise. All the tins were turquoise, and it didn't sell. And when I rolled in there in February or March of 2010, the thing had about 6 miles on it. Nobody had even test driven it. And they had these tins sitting on a shelf in the back room. They had no idea what to do with them, what bike to put them on. And since this was turquoise, it wasn't selling. They rolled the bike back in there, replaced all the tins with this, and then I came along as they rolled it off from the shop into the showroom, and I said, that one. So it wasn't even in the showroom on the kickstand for 10 seconds, and I was signing papers on it. It's a beautiful bike. I call her Maggie May because she keeps me amused. I had them put on the saddlebags, and they also added this Danny Gann seat. So that was in 2010, and I've owned the bike ever since, and thought about selling her a couple of times, but nah, I've had too much fun on this bike. You'll notice up here there is no speaker system. I've had that added. I also had I added myself a oil dipstick with a temperature gauge on it, just to keep track of that. So that's Maggie May, and show you a couple other pictures of her. You can see the Danny Gann seat on this a little bit better, but that's her, and I'm quite happy with her. So, I've ridden her over 10,000 miles, and I put her in storage every, usually end of September, sometime in October or early November, for the winter. I always winterize her, put some gas saver in her, and cover her up. this last time that I put her in there, in storage, was 3 years ago. And because we had a rainy season 3 years ago, and I didn't feel like riding through the summer. And then 2 years ago, I started streaming. So I didn't have enough time for her. And then this last year, with the COVID, I didn't feel safe in going out on her. So she sat in storage for 3 years, unfortunately. And when I opened up the storage bin, this is what she looked like. As you can see, the tags are from 2020, so I got them in 2019. And she got them in 2018 because they're 2-year tags. But that's what she looked like. I had the battery on a trickle charger throughout that time, and could have started her up, but I decided, the oil's been sitting in there for 3 years. The gas has been sitting in there for 3 years. Lord knows what's gotten into the brake system because it's been sitting there for 3 years. I'm just going to have Lattice Motors come pick her up. Not even get a starter because I don't want to scar the cylinders in case the oil has all gone into the pan and left the cylinders. So I'll just have Lattice Motors pick her up and take her to the shop. And I told them, do everything. Replace all the fluids, and make sure that it's roadworthy for the next year. And that's what they did. And then when I was at Lattice Motors, actually this is once I pulled her out of the storage unit. I was waiting for him. I took a picture of her. This is all dust. I did wipe down the seat, and every year what I do is before I even ride her, I give her a nice wash and a wax job, and I condition all the leather. And when I dusted off the seat, lo and behold, the seat was still had lanolin, because that's what I treat the seat with, lanolin on it. So there was enough lanolin there to withstand all the dust. By the way, let's get some music playing in the background. There we go. So that's what she looked like right before Lattice came and picked her up in their trailer system, and she went off to Lattice Motors, and they did exactly what I wanted them to do. They replaced all the fluids, and including the brake fluid, the oil. I told them to take the tank off, empty it out, and replace give me a half tank of gas just to get me started. And that's exactly what they do. They cleaned it off, they tightened up all the bolts, and she came out and she was perfect. And actually they washed it, put a nice coat of wax on it, so I didn't have to do that this year. I did condition the seat and the bags, all the leather on it, and I had them add a speaker system to it, and I'll show you that here. And let's see, this is a good picture. This is the speaker system right there, and that's hooked into the battery. Let me zoom in a little bit more. That's hooked into the battery, and I added a cell phone holder right in front of it, and I could hook my cell phone into that, and it charges my cell phone. So that's $500 worth of equipment, and that's 300 watt speakers. So there you go. So about a month ago, after I got the bike back, I was on Facebook, and there was a little advertisement for the Maupin Madness Poker Run. And I said, wow, that's right up my alley. And I looked at the different routes that they offered and what they offered, and it was relatively cheap. It was $30 to get in. So I decided to check the accommodations in Maupin, and lo and behold, there was room at the inn at a place called the Oasis. And so I booked a room for Friday and Saturday night, because the run was going to happen on Saturday. And I wanted to get down there a day early so I didn't have to ride the 100 and what is it? It's 85 and 45, so that's 90, 130 miles, and then another 130 miles for the poker run. So I would have done that on Friday, but as I live in Oregon, it rains here. So I was checking the weather reports up until the time I was due to leave, and it was going to rain here in Portland starting on Friday morning, which was when I was going to leave. So I decided, well, I'll just leave a day early and drive up to the Dalles, which is a town 85 miles up the Columbia River Gorge, and stay there. And I knew of a restaurant up there that was pretty good, or it used to be good, a place called Cousins, and they also have a motel there. So I booked a room in the Cousins Motel, and they also have a bar there, which made it handy. And so I left Thursday, spent the night in Cousins Hotel. Here's a view out the back window, and I had when I got there, I decided I wanted Mexican food. So I asked, what's the best Mexican restaurant in all of the Dalles? And they said that this I don't even know how to say the word, Izap Zapatas, I guess, was the best Mexican food in the town. So I went there, ordered a beer, and they brought me a tall beer. That's Dos Equis, and it's in a very, very tall glass. This thing was huge. That's like 2 cans of beer, one on top of another. They brought me some salsa and chips. And then I ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, which was this round steak. And it was good. The steak was very good, well marbled. And it came with a chili relleno right here. And I ordered some guacamole, and of course, they always bring chips. But the steak was very good. The rest of it was really bland, including the salsa and the guacamole. I mean, it was like no spice. So I didn't get my Mexican food satisfaction on. But, you know, you never know. You never know. So I slept the night in Cousin's hotel after having the Mexican food. And I wanted to kind of conserve energy, so I didn't go to the bar that night. I was sorely disappointed. So the next morning, I head off to Maupin, which is about 45 miles direct south. Now, when I left Portland, I beat the rain, and when I got to the Dalles, it was clear, and I made the run into Maupin. Like I say, it's about 45 miles south, and you have to go through the Thai Valley. It's on US 197, Highway 197. And you have to go through Thai Valley, which is very, very beautiful. A lot of farming there. And I've always liked Thai Valley. But when you're on top of the ridges, it was very cold, so I had bundled up, and then when you dip down into the valleys, and you have to go through like 3 valleys to get to Maupin, it would be hot as hell. So, but I never took my coat off, and I made the run straight. Never stopped along the way. Didn't take any pictures. So I just made that run. Oh, by the way, when I was in the Dalles before I left that morning, Friday morning, I went to Cousin's restaurant, and because I stayed at the hotel, they gave me 20% off on the breakfast. This was a crap breakfast. One of the worst breakfasts I ever had in a hotel, anyway. The worst was in Utah. I had to spend a week in a motel in Utah, and all they had was powdered eggs and fake sausage. But this was almost as bad. Those eggs are powdered. That chicken fried steak was not bad. It wasn't bad. The gravy was pretty good. These are frozen potatoes, and I am 100% sure that the chicken fried steak was frozen also. They just throw it on the grill. the roll was pretty good. That was homemade. And the coffee was coffee. So that was pretty crap breakfast. I didn't tip very well. I thought it was not worth I think it was $15 for this breakfast. Not even close. By the way, that's a tractor back there. It's in the restaurant. So anyway, I made it to the motel in Maupin, and this is the hotel. It's the Oasis, and this truck sits out front all the time. That's the restaurant and the bar. However, you can probably see on the sign. No, you can't see it. You had to walk over here to order, and they didn't have any dining in. There was just picnic tables there. And that's, I got there at like 11 o'clock. Check-in time was 4. So I hung out in front of the hotel and just kind of rested my weary bones and talked with some people that happened along the way, and sat on the red benches out front. And the owner asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I got reservations, but I know I can't check in until 4. And he goes, well, which room are you in? Which cabin are you in? I said, well, you guys have me booked for the trailer. He says, that blue one over there? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, it's not ready yet, but we'll work on that. So that is the trailer right there. Let me expand this a little bit. That's the trailer right there. And this is the seating area for the restaurant. Now, they're on minimum food. They did have beer and pop and whatnot. And apparently, they also have milkshakes that are hand scooped. They're supposed to be really good. I never got one. There'll be another time when I roll through Maupin. I'll stop and I'll get a milkshake. But that was my accommodations for 2 nights right there. But they got the trailer ready post haste, and I was able to check in about 1 o'clock. And inside the trailer, a bed, a sink with no water, a heater, a stove that didn't work, and a microwave on top of it. So, pretty bare bones. That's the other half of it. Seating area, and there was a coffee pot. That's my travel bag. And pretty basic, but it was all I needed. Just a place to sleep, a place to sit, and that's what I did. I ran up to Maupin after I had checked in, and picked myself up. Some Pendleton. Now this is a pint, and I also got some Dead Guy Ale from Road. I don't have a picture of that, do I? But I did. I guess I didn't. Hang on. Maybe I did. No pictures. Okay. Anyway, so I got myself some Pedaled In. Very good whiskey. Really good, just on the rocks. Almost as good as Scotch. So that's what I did. Yeah, I went up to the store, and I do have a picture of downtown Maupin. This is a bar, and I am parked right in front of the store. As you can see, there's a lot of, wait a second, this isn't Maupin. That's not Maupin. I do have a better. This is, Fossil. That's Fossil. I gotta rename that. There's Maupin. Here it is. Alright, this Maupin. There is a store right here that's also a liquor store. That's the park where the Poker Run first started. And you sign up and get your stuff from there. But this is Main Street Maupin. Let me expand this a little bit. And yeah, that's the Maupin store. And right across the street here is a gas station. You get photos and ice cream in here. So anyway, I spent the night, the first night, Friday night, at the Oasis. And met a guy who was sitting there in the parking lot on his Harley. He was sitting there for a couple hours. So I took him a beer and I said, how you going? And he goes, I'm waiting for my crew. He was from Pine Valley, or Pineville, and his crew was from Oregon City, Madras, and a couple other places, and they're all in a club. And lo and behold, his crew forgot to get a room at the Oasis, or one of the cabins. They were gonna pretty much take over the Oasis, but they forgot to book until about a week before the poker run, and by then the Oasis was all filled up. It was pretty much the cheapest motel in town. Now, up the street, there's another motel that's 3 times the price, and they had to book in there. He didn't tell me this until I saw him a little bit later. He says, they're all up there, and I'm down here. But the whole place was booked with... there was a few bikers, and mostly just families. But the cabins were pretty cool. Let's see. I think you could see some of them in this picture. Yeah, these are the cabins here. I'll expand that one. Yeah, those are the cabins, and they run all along here. There's another trailer up here. It's a bigger trailer than mine. Mine was just for one person. But there's bikers in here, in there, and then families, and then a couple of bikers over here in this row. And that was the bathroom there, and the shower was there. So there was no bathroom in the trailer. All right. So Saturday morning, I woke up, had a nice cup of coffee, and this is the shower, and I'm looking toward the north here. There was a nice chair and a table and a couple of logs like that outside my trailer. People come along and sit and talk for a little while, and it was pleasant. I enjoyed it immensely. So Saturday morning, I got up. Oh, also in the morning, I met a friend. He came over and wouldn't jump up. He just wanted to get a few pets. He was good with that. And then he wanted to go into the trailer. I didn't let him in. I think he wanted to go in there and take a nap. But he was my friend in the morning. Every morning he'd come by and see me and want some pets, and wanted to be in the trailer. So anyway, Saturday morning, I went to Maupin Park. Maupin Park. And that's where the start of the poker run is. And if you don't know what a poker run is, essentially you drive a route and there are stops along the way that you have to check in. And then at the end, for all the stops that you checked in at, they deal you a card, and the person with the highest hand gets a prize. They usually aren't notified for a couple of days while they sort things out, but yeah, that's how a poker run goes. Sometimes on a poker run, they'll actually, at each stop, they'll deal you a card and then sign your route sheet and put whatever card is on it that you got at that particular stop. So that's how they did it in Pendleton anyway. But anyway, this was early. I got there early. They opened up at 8 a.m., which is early for bikers. I mean, it's still cool out, and you don't want to ride in that cool air. You'd rather, wait until 10 o'clock when the temperature goes up about 10 degrees. But as you can see, it was a beautiful day. Very few clouds in the sky. Temperature this time was about 60, maybe 65. So it was getting close to ride time, temperature-wise anyway. And this is just the early risers here. There was probably 100 bikes in the maybe even 200 bikes in this poker run. By the end of the morning when I left, this whole side was filled, that whole side was filled. So There's another picture a little bit later. And there's Maggie May right there in the front. And while I was sitting there, I was talking to different bikers. One of them says, you want us to bless your bike? I go, sure, why not? He goes, go ahead, have a seat. I sat down on it. Like 6 guys came around and blessed me and the bike. I'm not a religious guy, so it was quite the thing. And they gave me a sticker to put onto the front forks there, which I'm not gonna do. But anyway, we got Maggie May and I got blessed. So then the first stop was Thai Valley, which is a little town about 30 miles away from Maupin. And let me get that pick up here. Here it is. Yeah, this is Thai Valley. And the check-in was this gas station. I don't know if you could see the pumps there, but it was a 2-pump gas station. Pretty old. And as you can see, other people were there already when I rolled in. And the pumps were old style, and they were on that side. You can see one of the bikers filling up. So that was the first stop, and I picked up a thing of Gatorade there, and then on to the next stop, which was Grass Valley. And on the way, this is what I saw. These are windmills, and that is wheat or barley. There's a lot of windmills here. You can see the cloud cover was perfect. It was just nice. Probably about 75 degrees at this point. And Grass Valley is 30 miles from Thai Valley. So that's the next run. And I got a couple of pictures of these windmills. Pretty cool. And I mean, you ride just right next to them. Here's the last one. Yeah, you're right on top of these things. As you can see, the road goes just right there. And they're ginormous. They must be 200 feet high. Like I say, all this is wheat or barley or some kind of grain. That area is known for its agriculture, and also now the windmills. That was next stop. And that was pretty quick stop. Then the next stop was quite a ways away. It was 55 miles, and that was Fossil. Let's see, where's the Fossil pick? Yeah, this is Fossil, and the stop was here in this bar, which also had a restaurant, and this whole street was aligned with bikes, as was the other side of the street, and a lot of people was having lunch there because it was about that time. And then around the corner there was a whole nother bunch of bikes. Well, I decided, it'd be a good time. I hadn't eaten yet, be a good time to have lunch. So I walked in, got my route ticket signed, and ordered a BLT and onion rings. And of course, I had to order something to drink. By the way, man law, no fruit and beer. Don't put limes in my Corona, please. But yeah, I got a Corona. Now, it took about 45 minutes for me to get my dinner, or my lunch. And in the meantime, I was talking to other people, and a group of about 15 women, all on Harleys and all on motorcycles. There were about 15 of them, I guess, with a couple of guys sprinkled in, all riding together. And they were part of a crew. And I got talking with them, and they were from all over Oregon, but one of them was related to the organizer of the event, which I found out later. But anyway, they came in and they also ordered lunch. My lunch eventually came. More about that women's crew in a little bit. I ordered my lunch, and this BLT was fantastic. It's had a ton of bacon on it, and that's 9-grain bread. Those tomatoes were obviously local, as was the lettuce. These onion rings were fantastic. It was a beer batter, but it wasn't the thick beer batter. It was like a tempura beer batter. So the breading on them was light, and they were probably the best onion rings I've had in 15, 20 years. So just fantastic. So anyway, I ate my lunch and jumped back on the bike and headed toward next stop was Shaniko, which is a ghost town. And along the way, as I was leaving, all the women got their lunch. Along the way, that run is about 40 miles, and it's real windy and through the high desert. But along the way, the first group of the women passed me. I was just out enjoying the scenery and the weather, and because I hadn't ridden a motorcycle very much in the last 3 years, I took it easy this whole trip. Always below the speed limit, always taking the corners correctly. And anyway, so the first group passed me, and then about 5 minutes later, the second group passed me. Then we got into some windy roads, and I came along. I was following the second group fairly closely, and I came around the corner, and one of them had flipped her bike and fell into the ditch, and the bike was on top of her. So I stopped, and there was a guy with him in that group, and we picked the bike up off of her, and she was out cold for a couple of minutes. So we picked the bike up off of her and got it upright and out of the ditch, and the bike was fucked up. unwritable at that point. And she, like I say, she was out cold for a couple of minutes. When she woke up, we made sure that, you know, her arms and legs were not broken. She moved all that. She was real groggy. Never took her helmet off. Don't do that when somebody gets in a motorcycle accident, because it might extend the damage, especially in the neck area if you start pulling on a helmet. She did say her neck was really stiff and hurt, so she probably had some neck injury there. With a helmet, helmets are heavy, especially good ones, and they can tweak your neck pretty good. But anyway, I hung around for about 10-15 minutes, helped direct traffic, and we couldn't get cell service because we were in the middle of nowhere. Stopped a couple of cars and had them go up the road and call 911. And like I say, I was there for about 15 minutes. Jumped on my bike. Before I left, the guy told me, he says, "Hey, you see somebody in a yellow Kawasaki, let her know what happened. She's the leader of the group." So I said that I wouldn't. He also told me that when I get back to Maupin, find the leader, the organizer, and let her know what happened. And that's how I found out that this group was associated with the Poker Run organizers. So anyway, I jumped on my bike, and on the way to Shaniko, an ambulance passed me, and then a pickup truck with lights and siren. I didn't see a tow rack in the back of it, but somebody told me later that that's the motorcycle tow rack for the place. And then right before I got into Shaniko, a fire truck headed up the road. So they had ambulance, tow truck, and fire truck all going up there. So I knew that somebody had gotten hold of 911. So when I got into Shaniko, the first thing I saw was the yellow Kawasaki on the main street there, across from the hotel. And so I rode over there, and there was a group of people standing there, and I said, "Who owns this Kawasaki?" And a girl comes over, and I said, one of your friends got fucked up." And I told her the story, and she goes, "Yeah, we saw the ambulance and the fire truck leave, and we were wondering." So, and then she told me that she would call the organizer, so I didn't have to worry about it. So that was the hard part of the trip. But anyway, hopefully she's okay. I'm sure she's probably been to a hospital by now, if not checked in, and hopefully she'll be better. Her bike's fucked up. She's gonna have a lot of repairs on that thing. If she does, a lot of people don't ride after they get fucked up like that. I've been in a couple of wrecks. It didn't really matter to me. I'm still riding. But anyway, a lot of people quit riding after they get in a bad accident like that. There was no blood or anything, but you could tell she was she was knocked out and pretty groggy, and her neck was hurting, so she may have some long-term damage there. But anyway, I made it to Shaniko, and that was the last stop. I'll take pictures of Shaniko another time. That's a destination. It's a ghost town with a hotel, and I've been there numerous times. Probably why I didn't take any pictures. But it's a neat town. It has all kinds of museums, and along one side of one of the streets is a series of, for want of a better term, barns full of old cars that somebody has collected over the years. Probably 250, 300 cars. So I'm going to make that a destination later this summer. I'll take some pictures, and we'll do another travel log like this. But anyway, I made it to Shaniko. That was the last stop before getting back to Maupin. Oh, I forgot. In Grass Valley. Headed to Grass Valley. You go along the Deschutes River. And that's the Deschutes River. And this is in the Warm Springs Indian Reservation. And this is Sherrar's Falls. And this is actually considered a waterfall. Most of it is around this bend here. But you could see, just barely, you could see a little stand there. And there's one there. And this is where the Native Americans, there's one right there. That's off camera. There. Now you can see it. That there, that's where the Indians, the Native Americans, stand, and they put nets in the water. Big, I mean, like 4 feet around fishing nets on the long poles, and they dip them in the water and they pull out steelhead or salmon, whatever happens to be running up the river. And I guess it's not the best time to be doing that, because there wasn't anybody doing that this time, or else I would have got pictures of it. But yeah, this is Sherrar's waterfall. And it's in the high desert of Oregon. That's the Deschutes River. And in the high desert, as you could see. You could also see that the weather was really good, too. I do have another picture of that. Yeah. This is up the other way. And that's Sherrar's Bridge. There you go. And the river runs up through this canyon. But that's the high desert in Oregon. You can see the weather was just perfect. Alright, so let's close those up. That was on the way to Condon from Grass Valley. There were how many stops? Let's see. First one was Ty Valley, then Grass Valley, then Condon, then Fossil, then Shaniko, and then back to Maupin. That was a good trip. So I got back to Maupin. I checked in, and first three cards they drew me were King, Queen, Ace. Next two cards, 4, 2. So I didn't have a very good poker hand, but I did have a Ace High, Ace King. So who knows? I'll find out later what I actually, if I won anything. Hopefully I did. So I got back to the Oasis and cracked open a beer, cracked open the Pendleton, sat on my front porch there. I had a beer and a few sips of the Pendleton. Anybody walking by, I'd offer them a wet your whistle. And I had a few takers, sat and talked motorcycles with people. And then at 7:05, I decided, well, I better get some food in me. So I walked over to the restaurant, and it was locked. What the fuck? So I knocked on the door. Said, yeah, we close at 7. Oh, crap. So I decided, well, I'll go up the road to the other restaurant at the other hotel. And I went in, I got myself a Corona. Is it a Corona? Yeah, I got a Corona. And the only thing they had on the menu was burgers. Now, the Oasis a week ago decided that they were going to remodel their kitchen. So they tore up their kitchen. And the only thing they had to eat there was burgers that they made on a grill out in back of the kitchen. And when I got to the other place, the only thing they had on the menu that night was burgers. So all they ate in Maupin was burgers, which really sucked. But anyway, I was sitting there, and let me turn this music down just for a second. I'm going to play you a video. Now, all these places were inhabited by bikers. So, all these places are inhabited by bikers. These are all bikers. You could tell. She's a biker. There's some old fart. There's a biker sitting there. There's bikers sitting over here. So this guy started playing. And none of these bikers are listening to this cowboy playing cowboy music. So I had to take a video because I was laughing about it. This place booked the wrong guy for this weekend. These are all bikers too. That's that group of women that were there. Nobody's paying attention to the guy. I found that hilarious. So anyway. So I had my burger, I went on home, sat out and had another couple of beers, and then went to bed. Sunday morning, yesterday morning, I woke up, and throughout this whole stay at the Oasis, I heard these crazy owls all day, all night. And so Sunday morning, I made this video. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but there's a bunch of owls that live here. And in the mornings, they hoot. I haven't seen one yet, but I hear them. They're out there. Yeah, there's about 6 or 8 owls out there hooting all morning long. And then during the day, there'd only be one. That was pretty funny. And there were hawks. You could hear the hawks. When I had burgers, came with tater tots. And she goes, you want any dipping sauce to go with your tots? And I go, yeah, why don't you give me some blue cheese dressing? Sounds good. So she brought me this tiny ramekin that's about 1/8 of a ramekin with blue cheese sauce in it. You want to lose your tip real quick with me? Don't give me enough. So, and that's the hamburger that I had, and that was one of the tater tots. Pretty crappy hamburger here, and the tater tots weren't all that good either. So anyway, I woke up Sunday morning and made some coffee and decided that I'd take off for the day. I checked the weather report, and it was going to be clear in the Dalles, but
one of us, one
Utopia.
Of us, one of us.
It's for the follow. There was the weather was supposed to be clear in the Dalles, and then back in Portland here, the rain was supposed to stop about 1 o'clock. It was going to be clear until like 4. So I saw a window of opportunity there, so I bundled up as much as I could because it was still fairly early in the morning, and jumped on my bike, headed up to the Dalles, and decided to find something to eat in the Dalles for breakfast. And the only thing open Sunday morning was a Denny's. And I didn't want to go back to Cousins because of the powdered eggs and crappy food. So I ate at Denny's, and it cost me a pretty penny because I had them make something special for me. And a 4-egg omelet, because I was hungry, with Swiss cheese, spinach, and mushrooms, both sausage and bacon, hash browns, and an English muffin. And it wasn't bad. I tipped the waitress $10 on what did it end up to be, like $18 breakfast. I didn't take any pictures of it because you guys know what eggs look like. So anyway, I headed off toward Portland, And it was about noon in the Dalles when I left. So I wanted to stall a little bit. So I stopped halfway in a place called Cascade Locks. And it's almost exactly halfway between the Dalles and Portland. And this is at the city park there at Cascade Locks. And you could see it totally clouded over. There was actually clouds in the valleys in the gorge. This is the Columbia River right here. And it was starting to get pretty nasty. So I waited there probably a half hour to make sure my entry into Portland wouldn't be until about 1:30. And so finally I jumped on the bike, headed into Portland, got to Troutdale, and it started raining. Now, I had avoided all the rain up until that port. And Troutdale is about 15 miles from my apartment here. So I had to ride 15 miles in the rain. And when I got back, I was soaked. And I had brought the Pendleton with me for the way home. I left a couple of beers in the fridge. When I got home, I cracked open that Pendleton again. So anyway, that was the trip to Maupin. It was a good trip. I don't think I missed any pictures here. Oh, this is across from this is across from the Oasis. That is the Deschutes River right there. Let me expand that. Yeah, that's the Deschutes River right there. And the actual city of Maupin is up here. City, village, town is up here on this this cliff. And any other pictures I might have missed. Oh, yeah. When I was in Condon, one of the stops there, I saw this bike. This is a kick-ass bike. This guy had a real nice paint job on it. And I was pretty impressed. I actually text this pic to my daughter, and she goes, I like that one. But it's a Harley, but it's an older one. And I don't know if it's a soft tail. I don't think it's a soft tail. I think it's a Sportster. The way that this spring looks. And it looks very similar to my Sportster, only mine was all blue. It's a nice looking bike. Good paint job. I complimented the guy on it. Asked if I could take a picture of it. Any other pics I got? That's the beer I had at the with the burger. I think that is all the pics. Yeah, that's me sitting on my porch there. And it was just beautiful. This is Maupin up here. And That's the highway, and this is the Deschutes River runs right next to the highway there. Good fly fishing there, I was told. So, I'm not much of a fisherman. My dad and brothers were, but I'm not. All right, so that's it for the day. That's the trip. And I'm back here in Portland now, of course. Tomorrow, we'll be back in games, and I'll probably be playing Elite Dangerous tomorrow. But today it was all about the trip and motorcycles and my life on the motorcycles. And the whole thing made me very happy. I was a little buggy-eyed. That was Sunday morning. Sent that to my daughter. But it was a good trip. It wasn't the best trip I've been on. There was a little tragedy along with it. But it was a good trip. And I may do it again. They have 3 different poker runs on that one now. This was the first year that they did 3 different poker runs. And I may go do it again. Maybe not next year, but perhaps the year after. And like I say, it wasn't the best run I've ever been on. It wasn't the best poker run I've ever been on. But then again, it wasn't the worst either. So it was pretty good. Pretty good. I was happy. Well, that's going to be it for the day, guys. Appreciate you stopping in. I'm going to post this over both on YouTube, and I'm going to also post it in the Salty Sailor Society later on today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, huh?
The lights, the party's over.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
That's all, folks.
Elvis has left the building.